You know, do you want me to repeat that again?
So
Did you
what
record
is
it?
your input comfort level in terms of the Google Meets update compared to like how we were trying to use them prior?
Okay, so the Google Meets update, I really don't like too much because it automatically filters them into specific rooms, into how they log into the class, and I like to give them more of a choice. And by having a separate room instead of the breakout rooms that Google Meets has, have a separate Google room that we did before, and that way it's easier to manage, it's easier to give them a choice, and it's easier to bounce back and forth between the classes, and it's so much easier to manage if you have two separate rooms instead of the breakout rooms. It's just in my opinion.
How, because I could see one of the problems being that even though you have, say you have four rooms open, if you have all four of them, all of that sound is still being echoed in your computer. So if you had your mic off in one room, have you seen that as like an issue?
I turn them off. The kids tell me, they're like, hey, can you turn off your mic? So I turn off my mic and we use the chat, and it works. I mean, it seems to work fine.
Well, yeah, because
Just a
that
little bit.
was always one of my worries in terms of that echo. But I know when I used it last week for target games, it was nice having that extra adult in there because I was able to like ask them to lead it in there. And then I would jump freely into two rooms. But then there is that other piece that obviously is worrisome for everyone of if you're not in a room and something happens.
Yeah.
We have been reassured from admin that there will not be any not any repercussion. We won't be held accountable as long as we lay out those ground rules for at, just like how we have code of conduct at the start, and that's something I do also. I just reviewed that right before we went into the breakout rooms. So keep that in mind as you're using breakout rooms as we're moving forward. All right.
It's terrifying to me to do those group rooms. I'm just like to be able to multitask and move around the rooms and just, yeah, I'm worried.
And one thing I tried with my sixth grade at the end of last week was at this point, I can kind of tell who my kids are, who not so much leaders, but are more reliable. So in two of the breakout rooms where there wasn't Miss Adams in there, I asked if one student in each of those who I identified could have or could like share their screen. So as students talked and pointed out important things from the article, they could highlight those things. But I had to make sure the student A was comfortable and able to share their screen, and B, they understood the highlight feature in Word docs as well.
What about the level of participation in those? Like, how do you feel? Like, I feel like the level of participation in my classes is that I have the same kids pretty much to participate. And then the other ones that I repeatedly say over and over again to them, are you paying attention? Maybe you should put your camera on, but like when they go into those breakout rooms, like even myself, when I go into a breakout room, I don't participate maybe as much as I should. And we've sat in our breakout rooms, even in like not department, but in faculty meetings when we've had to go for PD, where we've kind of just sat there and been like, nobody's saying anything. Nobody wants to be the first one to talk.
Yeah.
More people are talking than the other. You know what I mean?
So one of the cool things with that Meets feature with the breakout rooms is you can shuffle it of where you have whoever in there. But then once it's shuffled, you can also move kids around from room to room before you start it up. So that's what I did with that Mod 10 with Miss Adams. I made sure the kids that she supports are in that same room. But one thing I found hard there is because I only had 3 rooms, but that was my larger class. So when you're trying to move someone from room 3 to room 1, or if they're at the bottom of the list of room 3 and you're trying to move them to room 2, the screen won't move up like something normally would if you're trying to like move it up on a Word document like that. So that is one of those barriers that could be faced, which is why I might also lean towards having those separate rooms open. And also, if you do those kids, so if you have that main room, you can either hold that main room as one of your rooms, or you could use that main room as once everyone's all done, we're going back to our main one, and you can tell who is engaged and who isn't. So you could use that as the piece
Right.
as well.
Like Eric, like in my 2B that you came in last week, I did a lot of direct instruction because those kids, I mean, I have 3 kids participating. No one turns on their cameras, putting them in a breakout room. I mean, those kids are asleep, most of them. I mean, I don't even know if they're paying attention.
My friend Jessica, who I was saw this week out in Vegas with her classes, she says that she tells them that they have to turn their mic on. Like she'll say to them, I need to see your face in 10 seconds to know that you're with us and you're paying attention. So all they have to do is turn it on within those 10 seconds, and then she marks them absent. And I said, I don't think we can we can't make, she's like, I know we're not supposed to. She's like, but it's part of their participation. If they aren't following along, that tells me they're not following along, because all they got to do is just turn it on and show me that they're paying attention. It could be